Sisters, do you have a sense of the power of bold? Do you feel the power of bold within you? Some of us come by this sense of the power of bold honestly. We receive it from our families and our surroundings. I'm named for my grandmother, Harriett Howard Jones. She tells a story, it's told me a lot when I was a little girl, about the time that her family moved to Washington, D.C. in order to support her brother, who was the one that they were going to be committed to sending to school. So all of the other family members had to find a job. It was during World War I, and she decided, where should I look for a job during the war? I should go to the War Department. Surely they would need help, right? So she went down to the building and went to the door and discovered that she needed a pass or security clearance or something. And she obviously didn't have it. So she went across the street to the park and sat down to try to figure out what to do. And as she was sitting there, she noticed the other young women who worked at the War Department just going in and out of the building. And as they went, they would just flip their bags open and walk on. There wasn't an intensive security clearance with... And she said, So she sat in the park until lunchtime. And when the young women started to go back to the building after lunch, she joined a group, walked up to the door, flipped open her bag, and kept walking. Now, I don't necessarily recommend this, but she got the job. She said to us, if someone asks you, can you do something, never say no. Always say, I can learn. Now, I don't know if I've ever been quite that bold, but I have those roots in me. And I'll bet you do too. There's a relationship with a grandmother, with an aunt, with a sister, with the Sisters in United Methodist Women that have planted and raised up this power of bold within you. These relationships with our sisters are so important. We're transformed by relationships. Sometimes it makes our lives a lot more complex, but it makes it much more real. So as we work in this organization to make spaces for new people, we have to attend to the equipping that takes place. The equipping to see the reality, to see the needs, not just of the people in our circles, and not just of the people very far away, but of the people who are close to us. And that takes some leadership. We know the leadership is needed, and we know that we have the capacity within us, and so we do the work. It's too easy for those of us who have been in the struggle to say, yes, but we're making gains. Yes, but we're better than we were. It's true, but it's not going to take us to the next place. And we are in a position to make change. United Methodist Women, we are experts in education. The connection of faith and justice is at the core of who we are. And that work is so needed today. We're organized for impact. We exist at the grassroots. You heard about how important the grassroots connection is. That's us. We're everywhere. And we're not isolated. We're connected through the structures so that when we work together, we can make an impact. The work that we're about is not accomplished overnight. It's not accomplished by signing a single petition or making one visit to a legislator. It's a sustained, long-term, repeated, energized commitment to making change in the places that we prioritize. We've decided to increase the potential for impact by focusing on 4 issues. Economic inequality. It's especially important to women because we earn less than men in almost every place of work. Climate justice. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is not just important to the planet, but it's important to the women and children who are most deeply affected. Maternal and child health. What could be more closely connected to the needs of women today than the unbelievable maternal mortality rates in the United States? And the criminalization of communities of color that we see in the United States is intolerable. The mindset of othering, the mindset of not needing to treat some people the same as all people cannot last. So United Methodist Women, we need you to do all kinds of work, but we've prioritized that interrupting of the school-to-prison pipeline because we believe that we can make a difference in the future of girls in this country that will have lasting impact. Can you do it? I believe you can. Sisters, this is a great time to invite more and more people to attend Mission U. The theology that we learn there is the theology that will help us to examine things like the resistance to the gender equity amendments. It's also a time in the church where our relationships are under a great deal of strain. The church is feeling very fractured. There's a lot of anxiety about where we will be after the special session and how we can imagine working together. So I want to leave you with 3 things. These are things that I think we need today for our organization. Number 1, we need to understand that United Methodist Women is a leader. Our organization leads. Our members lead, all of the levels lead, but the organization has a role in your church and your community. I invite you, and maybe even challenge you, to stretch your personal leadership role and to think about the way your unit, your district, your conference can engage as a leader in the causes to which we're committed. Number 2, this is a time for inviting new voices. Today's women need a place to join this organization. They need a place to join the organization and offer their leadership. The third thing is, I believe it's a time for us to recommit to mobilize for justice. Some of us are in this in a big way, but I invite each one of us to commit to advocacy on at least one of the justice issues that we've talked about that are most powerful in your community or your state. And I want to suggest that you don't always think about the one that is the most comfortable. And we can't go into working on an issue that's new to us as if we had all the answers. This is a time for our own bold action. You, United Methodist Women, you are bold. You are leaders. Together, we are powerful. And the time is now. you.